All right, part 4 of the Locust. We're going to do the dry brush highlights today. And I've already done the left leg here to kind of give a comparison to what we're going to start with, what we're going to end with. So this is the leg that's just been base coated, washed, and then dry brush base coated. And that leg has been dry brushed now with my highlight color, Jungle Green. So we're going to go ahead and do the rest of the model that way. And just like we did before, get the brush concentrated, full of paint, kind of get off as much as we can in the palette, and then dab away until we're much, much less paint on that thing. And since we're kind of doing highlights, we're going to want to basically be doing top, bottom kind of strokes, and there's going to be areas we miss, and that's going to be good. And this Army Painter paint is a lot thinner than the MSP that I have been using, so it might take a bit to cover. That's also a good thing. And I'm not going to bother really doing anything. You can't even see that below there because that's in shadow, and I want that. I'm not going to worry about the cockpit glass in here because I'm going to paint that a very different color here before we're done. You can see that that's really bringing out the sculpt of this model. That is a little bit textured from my primer. I guess I had a dry spot there while priming, so that's a little unfortunate. And I could sand and fix if I cared enough, but for this little Liao Locust, I do not care enough. You can, other than it's wet and shiny, you can really tell the difference between the back and the front of what we're trying to do here. Just kind of brighten it up, make it look like it's clean and sort of shiny in the sun. To me, military hardware isn't super shiny, but it would be more lifelike than what like this leg is. So it's bringing out some life into it. Breathing life into it. Maybe that'd be a better way to say it. Little details like this can make it hard to actually get the panel covered, so you just kind of come in below it and hopefully kind of keep the shadow detail while you're doing it. Kind of just takes some practice. And if I get a little green on that cockpit glass, it's not going to be a big deal. Probably going to paint that either a sky blue or a black. I haven't decided yet. Probably a blue because I might have some black as an accent color, and I like to have the cockpit kind of stand out and be a unique color. I'm going to be really picky about what I cover here on the back. Like, part of this would be have direct light on it, and like part of the top of the foot, but like the back of the angle here, I am going to pretty much just leave the way it is. And same with the rotation ring here, that would be definitely in shadow, so I'm not even going to touch it with this brighter color. Some more here on the side. And this is just like the dry brush with the base coat, where you can kind of do to taste. If it doesn't look bright enough your first time around, then you can let it dry and come back to it. Just build up. It's easier to start light, well, light in the amount, not the like brightness of it, and come back later if it's just not the color you want. Like this foot, I didn't get enough the first time I did it, so I'm just going to kind of come through and add a little bit more. This Army Painter paint seems to be thinner and have like worse coverage than the MSP, but it seems to stay wet on the brush a lot longer, so it makes a good paint for doing dry brushing like this, but it's kind of a pain for base coats because it is so thin that it takes a lot to actually get it to cover. Now that I've got most of it kind of generally the color I want, I'm going to kind of just hit the peaks and lines with a more wet brush to pull out the edges specifically, kind of like the sun is shining directly on those points. And it might be hard to tell on the camera screen, but it has a nice effect in person. I'm kind of keeping my brush strokes nice and light, so I'm just barely hitting the tops of the edges of things. I'll come here and do that. And this edge, that edge. I'm not going to do this edge because it's so far under the body that I think it would be in shadow. And that is pretty much going to be it for the base color of the Locust. I'll come through and kind of do the gun barrels in a silver metallic, and this top gun barrel maybe this little small laser here and a few other details here and there, and do a quick wash on the silver to kind of bring out the detail again. And once I do the cockpit, that'll be done. So see you on the finishing touches video.